Buckle up, everyone, because today we are diving headfirst into the world of the Koenigsegg Agera.
A Swedish supercar that, instead of just following the CCX, it kind of blazed its own trail to becoming a legend, right?
And we're going to break down how it did that.
Yeah.
We've got a whole bunch of articles and research, and I got to say, even just skimming through it, I'm blown away.
It's a really cool story, you know? It combines performance and technology and, well, a bit of Swedish daring.
So the Agera was made from 2010 to 2018, and it came after the Koenigsegg's CCX. But before we even get to the crazy specs, the name itself is pretty interesting.
Agera, it means to act in Swedish, which I think really captures the car. It's not just about looking fast. It's about, raw energy.
Like the name itself is a verb. Okay, so let's talk about what this car can do. Just looking at the numbers, it seems like it's in a whole other league.
Oh, for sure. Under the hood, there's a 5.0-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine, but we're not talking about your average V8 engine. We're talking 947 to a mind-blowing 1,341 horsepower, depending on the model.
1,341 horsepower. That's more than some planes I've been in. What were they thinking? Were they trying to break the sound barrier?
Well, they were definitely pushing the limits. That translates to 0 to 62 miles per hour in less than 3 seconds. Can you imagine being launched like that? And the top speed for the regular model is supposedly 249 miles per hour.
Okay, so it's fast.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of supercars have impressive numbers. What made the Agera so legendary?
Well, one specific Agera, the Agera R, really put the car on the map. And not just for its speed, but for all the awards and records it broke.
Right. In 2010, it was named Hypercar of the Year by Top Gear magazine. And they don't just give that to anyone. Why was the Agera so special?
Well, it wasn't all about speed. Top Gear loved its balance, its handling the whole driving experience. They said it was a true driver's car. And then the Agera R did something even more impressive.
Wait, there's more. I'm already impressed.
Oh, yeah. In 2011, the Agera R smashed 6 world land speed records. And not just by a little bit. It went from 0 to 186 mile an hour in a crazy 14.53 seconds.
That's insane. I can't even picture that kind of acceleration. What other records did it break?
Well, one that comes to mind is the 0 to 186 mile per hour and back to 0. It did that in just 21.12 seconds. Talk about stopping power. These records weren't just about a powerful engine. It was about the whole package. The engineering, the aerodynamics, the whole thing.
So Koenigsegg really threw down the gauntlet with the Agera R.
Yeah.
And from what I'm seeing, it wasn't just about raw power. The technology in the Agera is as fascinating as the performance.
Absolutely. One of the key things is the car's lightweight design. Koenigsegg used carbon fiber and aluminum, which you usually see in race cars, to keep the weight down. That's how they got that amazing power-to-weight ratio.
It's like a cheetah.
Right.
All muscle and agility. But it can't just be about being light, right? There has to be more.
Oh, there's a lot more. The Agera has something called dihedral synchro helix actuation doors.
Dihedral, what? I think I need a visual for that one.
Basically, the doors swing out and then rotate up. It's a pretty dramatic way to make an entrance, and it's become a Koenigsegg signature. It's functional, too. These doors don't need much space to open, so they're easier to use in tight parking spots.
So it's not just about looking cool, it's practical, too. Pretty clever. What else makes this car stand out from an engineering perspective?
Well, the aerodynamics are really something. You've got active parts like the rear wing that changes depending on the wind and speed.
Wait, the wing actually moves. That's incredible. What did that do?
It helps keep the car on the road at high speeds by adding downforce. It's like an invisible hand pushing the car down, giving it more grip and stability.
I'm starting to see why it breaks so many records. It seems like every little detail from the doors to the wing was made to get the most performance.
Exactly. And we can't forget the transmission. The Agera has a special 7-speed dual-clutch transmission with only one input shaft.
Okay, I'll admit, transmissions aren't usually my thing, but one input shaft. What's the advantage of that?
In short, it lets the car change gears super fast, which is crucial for getting those crazy acceleration times. Dual-clutch transmissions are already known for being fast, but this design takes it to a new level.
So it's not just about horsepower. It's about how quickly that power gets to the wheels. I bet that's especially important when you're trying to hit 277 millipore.
Exactly. And this was just the beginning for the Agera. Over the years, Koenigsegg made a whole bunch of different Agera models, each with its own unique features and improvements.
Okay, so we've got the Agera R, the record breaker. What other Agera versions were there?
One that stands out is the Agera S. It was made for places where they don't have E85 biofuel.
So they were thinking about making it accessible in different parts of the world. I like that.
Then you've got the 1.1.
Wait, a 1.1? Wasn't that the one with the crazy power-to-weight ratio?
Yep, 1 horsepower for every kilogram of weight. They called it the world's first mega car. But we'll get into that one a bit later. So where were we? Oh, yeah, the 1.1.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. Most people think supercars. They think Italy,
Right.
Ferrari, Lamborghini. But then you have this Swedish company building cars that are maybe even more extreme,
Yeah.
more innovative.
It just goes to show that amazing ideas can come from anywhere. Christian von Koenigsegg had this vision, this passion for pushing the limits, and well, he didn't let geography stop him.
And that vision led to a car that's not just powerful. It's a technological masterpiece. We talked about the lightweight design and those cool dihedral doors, but what else makes it so special from a technical standpoint?
Let's go back to that 1.1 you mentioned. That 1.1 power to weight ratio wasn't just a marketing thing, it was a serious engineering achievement.
I can imagine all the challenges. Weight reduction must have been super important.
Oh, absolutely. Every single part, every gram mattered. But on top of that, they had to reach that crazy horsepower while making sure the car was reliable. Think about the stress on the engine, the transmission, the whole drivetrain.
So it wasn't just about brute force. It was about finesse, pushing the limits of what you could do with materials and design. Were there any specific innovations that made it possible?
The engine itself was a masterpiece. They created their own engine management system that constantly monitored and adjusted everything to squeeze out every bit of performance.
We're talking about a car that can go almost 280 mile per hour. I wouldn't think fuel efficiency would be a big concern.
You might be surprised Koenigsegg has this holistic approach. They don't just focus on speed, they want efficiency in every aspect. And that attention to detail is everywhere in the car, from the aerodynamics to the interior. Speaking of the interior, it's not what you'd expect from a performance car.
Really, I always pictured it being stripped down, all business, no luxury.
Not at all. The Agera's cabin is this blend of high-tech and luxury. You've got premium leather carbon fiber accents, and it's all designed around the driver with all the important info easy to see.
So it's not just about going fast, it's about enjoying the ride in style and comfort.
Exactly. But don't let the luxury fool you. It's still a driver's car. The steering is super responsive, the suspension is perfect. It's that sweet spot between a comfortable ride and handling like it's on a racetrack.
So you're saying I could take this grocery shopping and then hit the track on the way home?
Well, I wouldn't recommend pushing it to the limit on your grocery run. But the point is, the Agera can handle anything you throw at it. It's incredibly versatile and brilliantly engineered.
Okay, you've convinced me. But let's be real. Most people who own an Agera aren't using it for their daily commute. This is a hypercar, a symbol of exclusivity.
Definitely. And speaking of exclusivity, we can't forget that the Agera in all its variations was made in very limited numbers. Like the Agera R, there were only about 18 of those made, the Agera S about 25, and the 1.1 only 7, including the prototype.
Wow, those are tiny numbers. It's like each one is a piece of art. And that limited production must make them super valuable for collectors.
You're right. They're not just cars, they're investments. And on top of the limited numbers, there's another layer to the Agera's exclusivity customization. We talked about special editions, but even the regular models were highly customized.
Okay, now you're talking my language. What kind of customization options are we talking about?
Koenigsegg loves to work closely with their customers to make each car truly unique. They offer a ton of choices like paint colors, interior materials, even performance upgrades.
So it's not just about buying a car off the lot. It's about working with the people at Koenigsegg to build your dream car, something that reflects your personality and style.
Exactly. And that level of craftsmanship adds to the Agera's exclusivity and its value as a collector's item.
We've talked about the performance, the technology, the luxury, but I'm curious about the driving experience itself.
Yeah.
What's it like to actually get behind the wheel of an Agera?
It's hard to put into words. It's like a sensory overload. The acceleration is unlike anything you've ever felt. It pushes you back in your seat and takes your breath away.
Some people say it feels like being shot out of a cannon. Is that a good description?
That's pretty accurate. You're surrounded by this incredible sound, the engine roaring, the wind screaming past, and everything outside just blurs into colors.
And what about handling at those speeds? It must be like trying to thread a needle at 200 miles per hour. Is it as scary as it sounds?
You'd think it would be really hard to control, but it's actually surprisingly stable. Koenigsegg's understanding of aerodynamics is amazing. The car just glues itself to the road, even at crazy speeds. Obviously, you have to be really focused and careful, but the Agera RS gives you the confidence to push it.
So it's not just about power. It's about control, precision, having faith in the machine.
Exactly. The Agera is so well engineered. Every system works together perfectly to create this exciting but controlled driving experience.
We can't forget about the sound. I bet that V8 engine sounds amazing.
Oh, it does. It's this deep roar that gives you chills. It's almost musical the way the engine note changes as you rev it up.
Okay, I'm getting jealous.
Yeah.
But for someone who's never driven a supercar like the Agera, How would you describe the feeling? What kind of emotions does it evoke?
Pure exhilaration. It's a feeling of freedom and power that's like nothing else. It's almost primal, the way it connects you to the road and the car. It reminds you of what's possible when we push the limits of what we can do.
That's a great way to put it. It sounds like more than just driving. It's about pushing boundaries, both personal and technological.
And you know what's interesting? The Agera RS, that record-breaking monster, it wasn't just built for speed, it was designed to be driven on the road legally. It shows that the line between fantasy and reality is getting blurrier.
You're right. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We haven't even talked to someone who's actually driven the Agera RS.
You're right. And luckily, we have a very special guest joining us for the last part of our Agera deep dive, someone who's actually driven that record-breaking car.
Oh, this is going to be good. Can't wait to hear what it's like to unleash the Agera RS. But for now, we need to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with our exclusive interview.
We're back, and I have to say, I'm still kind of reeling from everything we've learned about the Agera. You know, reading about the specs and the tech is one thing, but hearing from someone who's actually driven one, that's a whole other level. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. We have a very special guest, someone who's had the incredible chance to drive the Koenigsegg Agera RS, the car that set the production car speed record.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So I got to ask, what was it like getting behind the wheel of a car that can go over 277 miles per hour?
It's hard to put into words. You know, it's like nothing else I've ever experienced. The acceleration is just brutal. It pushes you back in your seat, and I mean, it takes your breath away.
I've heard people say it feels like being shot out of a catapult. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's actually pretty close. You're surrounded by this incredible sound, the engine roaring, the wind rushing past, and the world outside just becomes a blur of colors.
And what about handling at those speeds? Must be like trying to thread a needle at 200 miles per hour. Is it as scary as it sounds?
Honestly, it's surprisingly stable. The aerodynamics are so good that the car just sticks to the road even at those crazy speeds. Of course, you have to be incredibly focused and precise, but the Agera RS gives you the confidence to push the limits.
So it's not just about raw power, it's about control precision too.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes a truly great supercar stand out from a car that's just fast in a straight line.
Exactly. The Agera RS is such a well-engineered car. Everything about it is designed to work together. The engine, the transmission, the suspension, the aerodynamics, it's like a symphony of technology.
Speaking of symphonies, what about the sound? That V8 must make a pretty amazing noise.
Oh, it does. It's a deep, throaty roar that gives you chills. It's almost musical how the engine note changes as you go through the gears.
For those of us who haven't had the chance to drive a supercar like the Agera RS, how would you describe the feeling? What kind of emotions does it bring up?
Pure exhilaration, you know? It's a feeling of freedom and power that's unlike anything else. It's almost primal the way it connects you to the road and the car. It makes you realize what's possible when we really push ourselves.
That's a great way to put it. It sounds like it's more than just driving. It's about pushing those boundaries, both personally and technologically.
Exactly. And you know what's interesting? The Agera RS, that record-breaking car, it wasn't just built for speed. It was designed to be driven on regular roads legally. It shows how the line between fantasy and reality is becoming less clear.
That's a good point. But, you know, that we've talked a lot about the Agera's performance and technical stuff. But I'm curious about the interior. What's it like to actually sit in the driver's seat?
You might think a car like this would have a really stripped-down interior, you know, like a race car, but that's not the case at all. The Agera RS is surprisingly comfortable. The seats are great, the materials are top-notch, and everything is designed to be both functional and beautiful.
So it's not just about going fast. It's about enjoying the journey in style and comfort, too.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that makes the Agera RS so amazing. It can be a comfortable cruiser for a long drive and then a beast on the track. It shows how Koenigsegg can build a car that's both incredibly capable and luxurious.
It sounds like a car that truly has it all. But I want to go back to something you said earlier about the people behind the Agera. What was it about Christian von Koenigsegg and his team that let them create such an incredible machine? Was there something special about their approach, their philosophy?
I think there are a few things. First, they're totally committed to innovation. They're always pushing the boundaries of what's possible with technology and design.
So it's not just about making a fast car. It's about pushing limits, exploring new ideas, and challenging how things are usually done.
Exactly. And second, they're incredibly passionate about what they do. You can see it in every detail of the car, the way everything is so carefully engineered and built by hand.
Yeah.
They're not just building cars, they're creating art.
That attention to detail, that striving for perfection, that's what sets Koenigsegg apart, right?
Absolutely.
Huh.
And the last thing I think is their fearlessness. They're not afraid to take risks, to try new things, to break the mold. That's what lets them create cars that are truly revolutionary.
Well, I think you've given our listeners a fantastic look into what makes the Agera RS so special. Thank you for sharing your insights with us.
My pleasure.
So there you have it. The Koenigsegg Agera, a supercar that has changed what we thought was possible in the car world. From its record-breaking speed to its groundbreaking technology and stunning design, the Agera is a testament to human ingenuity and the pursuit of excellence.
It's a car that has captured the hearts of car enthusiasts everywhere and left its mark on automotive history.
And even though they're not making the Agera anymore, its legacy lives on in the cars that came after, like the Jesko, which is trying to break the 300-mile-per-hour barrier.
It reminds us that the limits of what we can do are always changing, and it's a tribute to the people who dream big and have the passion and determination to make those dreams a reality.
And that's what I love about doing these deep dives with you. It's not just about learning facts and figures. It's about exploring the stories behind those accomplishments, the human side of innovation, and what pushes us to achieve amazing things.
Well said. And who knows what the future holds? Maybe one day we'll be talking about a car that can go over 300 mile per hour a car that makes even the Agera seem outdated.
Until then, we can appreciate the incredible engineering and boldness of the Koenigsegg Agera, a car that has earned its place among the legends of the automotive world.
It's been great exploring the Agera with you today.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of automotive excellence. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and never stop pushing the boundaries of what's possible.